For those who have no idea what RWBY is supposed to be, allow me to provide an explanation. The year is 2012 and the 10th season of Red vs. Blue has ended. Trust me, it's every bit as amazing as you'd think it would be. It's just a shame you have to go through all the Blood Gulch Chronicles to get to it. After the credits roll, a new trailer for a show called RWBY drops. It's an entirely original series, aside from several borrowed tropes, and as the other 3 trailers drop, the fans get hyped. The first season was decent, the second was pretty good, and the third is where things got serious. Because of this, the show has been getting a serious popularity boost in the latter half of the last year. And because of it, they're re-releasing the first volume in cinemas. To celebrate, I'm going to do this review. But first, let's hear Future Me's thoughts on the showing and the supposed reveal of Chibi RWBY, or whatever that is.
There is literally a guy dressed up as the professor giving cookies. Best session ever! This is the day we've waited for. This is the day we've opened up the door. Quite literally, the cinema is open. Truly a tiny cinema. And Professor Ozpin is sitting right there. You sure you want to be in the review? Okay, you've literally just submitted yourself to the review. That is your fault. I offered you to stay out of it, and you just put your head in there. That is your fault. Okay, session's over. It was good. Bit weirdly paced because it's volume 1. A lot of the jokes didn't hit because it's volume 1. But whatever. And I think the camera's gone off, but whatever. Yeah, pretty much what ended up happening was the film kind of just good for RWBY fans, but I recommend you wait till volume 2. Go see Volume 2 when it comes out. Also, Chibi RWBY was just a promo and you can watch it on YouTube, so screw it, you didn't miss anything.
Well, okay, sounds interesting. I just wish I knew what you were saying, because time travel isn't possible. So, now that that's out of the way, let's talk statues. They're a bit of an interesting thing when it comes to collecting, as it divides the community quite a bit due to a lack of articulation. Now, depending on the series, I actually have different ideas on what should be and what shouldn't be a statue. For example, I find Amiibo are really good, whether you use the NFC chip or not. However, when it comes to Transformers, I think that having a statue is even more stupid than having a Revoltech figure. I mean, isn't the whole point of a Transformer to transform it? Oh, whatever. That's not relevant. Today I'm taking a look at the Ren and Nora statues from the Rooster Teeth online store, produced by McFarline Toys, whoever they're supposed to be. I'll start off with Ren, as I got him as a Christmas present first. Since he has no articulation, I'll only really be talking about the sculpted detail and paintwork. And since they're intertwined, I can't really talk about one before the other, and I have to discuss them sort of at the same time. The first thing you'll probably notice when you have this in hand is the sculpted detail on the shirt. Not sure what this kind of shirt is, by the way, and the wiki doesn't really tell you that, but whatever. It's a Chinese shirt, and it's cool. Anyone know? Comment and let me know! Shameless comment bait! But I digress. These are really cool swirling patterns on here, and combined with the wash effect, he's just so awesome. It highlights the fact that this piece was probably originally hand sculpted before being scanned into a computer, rather than just being designed in a 3D modeling program. There's probably no way you could get patterns like these on even professional grade software like Maya or whatever they use. The paints also have a pretty awesome wash effect that makes them look dirty from certain angles, but not from others. Furthermore, the extra detail on the underside of the shirt could have easily been missed, but they put it in anyway. This is so cool. Top it off with some crazy gold details and a head that is as spot on as it could be for this price tag. You've got yourself a killer statue. This statue does have a few flaws, but they're minor. The biggest is probably the base, which reminds me of the kind of scenery you'd see in a Games Workshop model, where all you have to really do is give it a light dry brush, which is probably what they've done here. Sadly, it looks quite bland, and although the sculpting is nice, I really think it could have used more paint. Still, that would have driven up the price, and there's no way in hell I want that. What they could have easily fixed, though, are the guns. These are incredibly bland. I'm not so annoyed that you have to insert them into the hands out of the box, as it's not too hard, but some black paint or some way to distinguish between the 2 shades of green would have been better. Yes, there are actually 2 shades of green here. They probably aren't coming out on the camera, though, because they're way too close to each other on the spectrum. Finally, and this is less of a con and more of a strange feature that I don't really understand its implementation, is that I wasn't entirely true about the articulation. For some reason, the head can rotate. Okay, this is supposed to be a statue, where the main feature is higher detail in exchange for a lack of articulation. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, I'm just saying, Why? All in all though, this is a killer display item. It doesn't have any play options, but it does look amazing on your desk. Meanwhile, we have the ultimate gender-bent psychotic version of Thor and the girl that is totally into Ren, or at least that's what they imply in the show by volume 3. It's Nora, one of my favourite side characters in the show. Honestly, I was expecting the same quality as Ren when I purchased her, which I did as soon as I got Christmas money at the time. Nora is still clearly a premium piece, but in comparison to Ren, she seems a tad underdone. One thing she does better though is definitely the head, which seems far better sculpted and painted. It perfectly captures the wide-eyed wonder she has in the show, and personal preference kinda makes me like it over Ren's stoic face. By the way, is it okay for me to actually prefer Ren's new voice? I know it's a controversial opinion, and RIP Monty and everything, but I can't shake the thought from my head. Back on track, Nora sadly falls short in terms of quality in many other areas. There's nothing really noteworthy in comparison here. There's more colour variety, and the paintwork is just as good, but sadly it doesn't contrast as well as its comparison. Though there's some sculpted texturing on the white pieces of cloth, it sadly doesn't get noticed unless you're looking at the armbands or the
boobs.
I will say though, the hammer she carries is quite nice. Well, not really carries, though she frickin' rides on it, even if it is a little underpainted. I don't see much of an issue with the paint, as it is highly accurate, and it's appropriately sized, powerful but not too big. Nora does have a bit of a problem standing on it though, as although the hand clips on okay, if a bit difficult at first, the foot just does not want to stay in. When it's sitting on your desk, this isn't a problem, but a lot of statues often get moved from place to place and whatever, and when that happens, I guarantee the foot will come loose. The other complaint I have with her is the head, which doesn't quite turn forward enough for my taste. It means she's not really looking straight ahead while she's supposedly flying, or in this case, skidding across the ground. I know, I haven't spoken about Nora that much, but there's really not that much to say. I guess I'll just finish off with the gimmick these shares, which is where you can connect the bases. Well, I say connect, but it's more just lining them up as there aren't any pegs to fix it whatsoever. Furthermore, the way I would have liked them to peg together, where they would have been fighting back to back, doesn't work. Instead, they get spaced out quite a bit, which is a real shame considering the chemistry they share on the show. That aside, these figures are definitely worth their $40 price tag. I don't feel like a single cent of that money was lost in either purchase. At double the price of an amiibo, with about 150% the size and 3 times better paintwork, I can safely say that for any RWBY fan, this is a must-buy, even if they do lack articulation. Ren is a clear 5 stars, because although he's not perfect, he's certainly a top-tier statue, even if he only clocks in at about 7.5 centimeters. Nora's also pretty good, although she only pulls in 4 stars. She's still great, but I find that less love was put into this figure. She's also quite small, at about 13.5 centimeters. Yeah, she's technically taller than Ren, but yeah, I kinda don't see the size in her, I don't know why. For these guys, I'm counting it to the head, by the way, not the extra handles and the guns that would have given them extra height. In the end, I'm glad I got these. They've also currently restocked the other figures on the Australian store, which I'll leave a link to. I'll also leave a link to the American store, however, I'm not sure about the stocking situation there. Damn, now I want to pick up Jean and Pierre to complete the collection, although that might bring back some painful memories, though. Why? Why? Next time, it's a wheel jack-off. I compare the 2 versions of the character I have. Wait, why does that name sound gross? Wheel jack-off. Oh god, change the title! Which is a real shame considering the chemistry they share on the show. The share in the show. Yes, I'm Sean Connery. Jean Connery. This is gonna be a blooper.
I'm going, oh, camera, senpai! No, camera!